Guys, today I want to talk about this new Behemoth event because honestly, when I first opened it, I thought, okay, giant elephant, some rewards, probably another side event. Then I start reading the rules. I start looking at the bloodline system. Then I look at the trial of Steel. And I look over the invasion phase. By the time I finish reading everything, I realize this event is much bigger than originally I thought. This is not just a PvE event. This is not just a farming event. And definitely it's not just an event where whales do everything where everybody else is just watching. This thing is basically a mini kingdom versus kingdom war wrapped around giant elephant. So in this video I want to show you what I found, how the event work, where the point comes from, what free-to-play players should focus on, and what kingdom leadership should focus on. And most importantly, what mistakes I think people are about to make. Now, how the event actually work? Let's start from the beginning. The event was around 8 days. You can clearly see when you go over the shadow. If I can see it, yeah, basically clicking here, go the shadow, and you're going to see that they're like 8 days around. Now, when you see that the first half of the event is actually preparation, we're talking about day 1, day 2, day 3, and maybe day 4. It's just a preparation. The second half is actually the war, and that's the extinction is very important to know that there is like 2 phases here, because if your kingdom messed up the preparation phase, you might already be behind before the invasion even start. Most players are probably looking at the invasion and thinking that's where the event actually begins. Actually, the event begins the moment people start collecting runestones. Now, let's talk about the Awakening runestone. This is basically the currency of the event. Now, here you can get little more details about the Awakening runestone. It's basically donating Awakening runestone awakens the Behemoth bloodline power. Now, what is this power? It can be said from the quest. Here, there is Behemoth bloodline. Here, you can actually see all these things. But yeah, what you're doing is you're collecting those things, and you're going to even see it when you click one of these skills. You're going to see that there is like on the top right corner, you know, asking you for these awakened runestones. Very important to be said. Now, what you're going to do is you collect them, you donate them, you strengthen your behemoth, you earn point, you unlock bloodline power. So far, this is, you know, one very basic what you have to do to unlock your bloodline power. And when I saw the donation rewards, I immediately paid attention, because there is also some rewards. Because every runestone donate give 4,000 behemoth points, and that's actually a lot. Now you can go and check it out. There is also some rankings here. You can see some rewards. Alliance, Kingdom, blah blah blah. I mean, there is also rewards involved at the end of the day, and this is actually a lot. I mean, this 4,000 behemoth points, which means even if you're completely free to play, contributing to your behemoth is already helping both your personal rewards and your kingdom rewards. Yeah, here I can actually even point out this is, you know, kingdom, personal, alliance. You get the idea. Now let's talk about the bloodline system. Maybe this is something that may confuse the players. Now if I go over the attributes, here you're going to see attributes overview. This is bloodline blessing. Each of these blessings are giving you different steps that you can basically find in the bloodline. So now let's talk about the things that immediately catch my attention, because this is some part here, the bloodline tree, because this is where the event become interesting. When I open the bloodline page, I expect some boring bonuses, to be fair. Maybe gathering speed, maybe some march speed, maybe some resource production. Instead, I see like attack, defense, and health. You're going to see here it's like damage increase. Here you have a unit's attack, you have defense, some health. You get the idea. I mean, it's not like for gathering. Kingdom Wild combat bonuses, and immediately I thought, okay, this is actually important, because imagine two kingdoms. One kingdom take the preparation phase seriously, and the other kingdom say, we will just donate whatever. The first kingdom might enter invasion day with significantly stronger Behemoth bonuses. So here is everything is around the Behemoth bonuses at the end of the day. And suddenly those boring rune stones, awakening rune stones, donations don't look boring anymore. Now, the biggest mistake I expect the players to do with this event, I think a lot of players are going to ignore the first 4 days. I'm not gonna lie, I believe they're just going to ignore the first couple days, which I believe is going to be with crucial importance. From day 1 till day 4, they're going to ignore it. I'll walk in when the fight starts. This is, this is in the mind of like 70% from the people. They think that, okay, the fight is happening at this point, so I'll be there when this time come, okay? And at the same time, they forgot that they have to get every single advantage they can get. And this is the competitive players. They're going to do that. They're going to search for 0.5% more attack, more HP, whatever, just to have advantage in the fight, which is crazy. And I think this is a big mistake. If you go and just join in the phase where the invasion start, this is a big mistake, because if everyone think like that, your kingdom Behemoth enters the war weaker. This reminds me a lot of KVK preparation phase. The kingdoms that take preparation seriously usually perform better later. Not because they have stronger wills, because they have better participation. And here is connected with the activity of the players, how serious the players are getting the game. Because if you have only casual players, or if there's only casual players, they cannot get the advantage, huge advantage over the competitive players. But if you're a competitive player, everything you see in this video is going to help you to get advantage right there. So don't forget to hit one like. Now, let's talk about the other thing. The next thing I want to talk is Trial of Sion. Now, this is where things become spicy, because at first I thought Trial of Sion was just another PvE activity. Then I keep reading and I realize both kingdoms can relocate. The moment I read that sentence, I know exactly what is going to happen. This area is going to become a battlefield. Players aren't just farming, players are competing for access to the farming. And those are two very different things. You can see here it's right that during the beast timing stage of Trials CPO open 4 times daily, blah blah blah, and yeah, this is the Trial of CPO and my first impression. But why Trial of CPO actually matter? There are 2 ways to earn runestones, awakening runestones here. First, final blows. Second, combat points. And this is where I think many players are going to misunderstand this event. Everybody is going to chase the final hit. Everybody. People love stealing worst hits. But after reading the rules, I think fighting around the objective might actually be more valuable. Because combat itself can generate runestones, meaning active fighters may end up earning just as much as the players trying to snipe the kills. This is something I definitely want to test when the event is here. I mean, so far I didn't actually have a chance to do some big testings here. It's just, you know, small overview over this whole event. Now, why free-to-play players should be excited? Let's talk about about the good old free-to-play players and why I believe they should be excited. A lot of events in Age of Empire Mobile feels heavy weighted towards through spending. I mean, if you spend, it's obviously going to get some advantage in the event. It's not only that you're getting bundle, you get a bundle. Inside this bundle is also, for example, some speed ups that you can actually use later in some events to, you know, get the first place. This one doesn't feel like that because there are multiple ways to contribute. You can donate, you can fight, you can join some rallies, you can participate in Trial of Sion, help defend, help invade, and all those activities generate value. That means activity is rewarded. And I always like events that rewards activity. Now let's talk about the other thing. So far we talk about the attributes, I mean the Behemoth bloodlines, how to get these coins, awakened rune stones. Let's talk about the invasion, and invasion from what I know is from day 4 till day 8. Now let's get to the fun part, okay? The giant elephant. The things everybody is waiting for. The Behemoth invasion. And honestly, this thing is crazy. The Behemoth literally invades another kingdom. Not figuratively, literally. It enters the entire the enemy kingdom, moves toward a target and starts destroying things. When I start reading this, I laugh because it sounds completely ridiculous. Because when I realized how much strategy is involved, because then I realized how much strategy is actually involved. The king has a huge decision. One thing many players will never notice, the invasion location matters a lot. Because the king selects where the invasion starts. And where the invasion starts determines what the Behemoth is going to attack. Now imagine placing your Behemoth near a weak alliance, a poorly defended area, an exposed citadel. That could create a massive advantage. Meanwhile, placing a poorly could waste your entire invasion. So if you're a king watching this video, don't just click random coordinates. Think about it. Now, let's talk about the thing everybody will focus on. Killing the enemy Behemoth. This is going to be, everybody is going to focus on that thing. And honestly, I think they're right. Because the scoring for Behemoth's damage is huge. Absolutely huge. The event is basically screaming, please attack the enemy Behemoth. The rewards are enormous, the kingdom points are enormous, and the value is enormous. Every point towards that objective. Everything points toward this objective. Now let's talk about Undying Force. Now here is something that confused me at first. The Behemoth doesn't just die, it has Undying Force. Think of it like extra lives. When the HP reaches 0, one stack disappear. The Behemoth become dazzled, your rallies get removed, then the Behemoth recovers. And you have to do it again, and again, and again. Until all stacks are gone, which means this isn't one boss fight, it's multiple boss fights, back to back. And this is during the invasion phase, every 100 damage due to the Behemoth, giant new kingdom points. Each time you deplete an enemy Behemoth Undying Force, you gain some extra points. It's also giving some extra points at the end of the day. Now what this means for the kingdoms? Coordination become everything. because after every phase, rallies need to restart, people need to regroup, players need to return, and kingdom that organize quickly will gain a huge advantage. This remind me a lot of real KvK fights. The strongest kingdom isn't always the kingdom with the biggest wells. Sometimes it's simply the kingdom that react faster. Now, what I would personally do, if I was preparing for this event right now, first, get every runestone possible, or awakening runestones. Second, we already talked about from where you can get it, or you can just go and write it. It's in the details. You know, here you can get some extra information. Get every runestone possible. I can never miss a trial of Sion. I think this is also extremely important. This is trial of Sion. Third, join every Behemoth rally. Fourth, be online during invasion. Maybe this is the most important thing. And fifth, pay attention to where the action is happening instead of randomly farming somewhere on the map. Because from everything I've been read, this event rewards participation much more than a passive play. And my final thoughts is, after reading, you know, all these things, all this event, I don't think this is just another event. I think this might become one of the most interesting kingdom events in Age of Empire Mobile that has actually released, because it combined PvE, it combined PvE, kingdom coordination, object control, rallies, strategy, and invasion planning, all inside one event. And honestly, I think the kingdoms that understand the event early are going to have massive advantage over the kingdoms that treat it like a simple reward event or some kind of side quest. But that's just what I found after going through all the rules. Maybe I missed something, maybe I spot something, maybe you spotted something I didn't. So let me know down in the comments, what do you think is going to be the most important part from the Behemoth event? The donation, the Trio of Sion, the actual invasion day? Because personally, I think the real winners is going to be the kingdom that organize the best, not necessarily the kingdom with the biggest spenders. So this is my short overview over this event, Behemoth Conquest in Age of Empire Mobile. I really hope it was interesting for you guys. Me sharing my thoughts over this event, all the phases, and I believe you get some good idea what you should actually do. I wish you a great day. Don't forget to hit one like here. I'm going to put one video, you can go check it out. Wish you a great day and see you in the next video.